The death of Lady Flo has prompted an awkwardly unprecedented mixture of tributes and tirades, as memories are reignited of the highly controversial Queensland political regime of her husband Sir Joh. The disparate views have been illustrated by the hundreds of puzzled, and in some cases outraged, replies to a tweet by the Prime Minister about Joh and Flo, the Gagaroy couple who led Queensland public life in the 1970s and 80s. Here's the PM's tweet. And here's two responses. The answer lies in the story of the man that Lady Flo was so devoted to. To some, Sir Joh was a strong leader who helped Queensland grow economically while maintaining a bastion of northern safety, protecting a gratefully conservative population from the evils of socialism, poker machines and rude movies. To others, he was a hillbilly dictator who used an electoral gerrymander to keep his National Party-led government in power for decades, crushing democracy in the parliament and on the streets. He was premier from 1968 to 1987, and even at his peak was a divisive figure. In 1971 he declared a state of emergency to give police more power to shut down protests against the South African Springboks rugby union tour. Another former premier, Peter Beattie, still tells the story of being injured by police as a young man in the street violence. In 1975 Sir Joh's government used the Queensland Parliament to appoint little-known Albert Field to fill an ALP Senate vacancy, against the wishes of the Labour Party, a move which played a part in the fall of the Whitlam government. In 1977 he announced that street marches would no longer be lawful without a hard-to-get permit. Through all this time, special branch police were keeping tabs on political opposition. By the 1980s, Queensland under Sir Joh had become a strange state of economic development, low taxes, population growth and entrepreneurial advancement, combined with hidebound restrictions on civil liberties, indigenous rights and social progress. Sir Joh received his knighthood in 1984 while he was still Premier, but by 1987 it was all unravelling. In that year he embarked on a fruitless and fantastical bid for Canberra. The Joh for PM campaign has gone down in history as one of the most ridiculous political exercises in this country. Having abandoned that goal, Sir Joh was overseas when his deputy Bill Gunn announced the formation of a commission of inquiry into police corruption, sparked by media investigations into the years of crooked practices which had gone on while the Joh government was in power. Soon the allegations aired in the Fitzgerald inquiry were linked to government, and the end was nigh for Sir Joh. He lost the confidence of the National Party team HED ruled for so long, and resigned in December after a bitter but forlorn attempt to hang on. A year later he was called before the Fitzgerald inquiry himself, and was questioned about receiving corrupt donations, allegedly delivered in cash to his office. In 1991 the former Premier, then aged 80, was charged with perjury arising out of his evidence to the inquiry.